Hello and welcome to Investing Bros. It is 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here in Florida, and I'm very humbled to have you join us. We're going to be getting into answering the question of where is the peak FOMO? Where is the FOMO? We are not feeling it quite yet. We're not seeing outrageous view counts on YouTube, on X, and it's not translating into the price of Bitcoin, right? This is going to be key. It's going to be key in order for the price of Bitcoin to go ahead and shoot up to those all-time highs and push higher. Now, what we can do is take a look at the Bitcoin price and be grateful for what we do have, right? Because you might be listening to me and saying, T-Shroom, how could you be talking about higher when we're already getting some pretty high prices this morning? Well, it's because I do want to investigate this question, and I do think that we have some information today that has surfaced to help us answer this question. But right now, I've got to agree with you in some sense, that because I am being ungrateful, right? Being a little greedy here this morning. It's Friday after all. Let's take a look at these Bitcoin charts. Oh my gosh. Take a look at this, guys. Bitcoin 47.5. It is absolutely insane. If we get a candle close here on the 4-hour, this will be the highest candle close for Bitcoin of 2024. Now, we have to get a candle close, and actually, we've got that already. I don't know what I'm talking about. These are all wicks back here. So this can't, actually, you'd have to zoom in to get this completely confirmed. Bear with me, folks. This candle did close above these other ones here, so that is an all-time high candle body close for 2024. So not all time, but for 2024, this is very, very bullish. If this one closes here, this current 4-hour candle, that also is going to be quite bullish indeed. Now we had Army Piper on yesterday, and we went pretty deep into the TA. Very much appreciate that video with him. That was an awesome live experience for you all and for myself. If you haven't been able to go watch it, make sure you go do so over on the Investing Bros channel. Just click on our channel and you'll be able to go watch the rest of that. But some of the things that I'm noticing on the charts here are taking a look at the Lux Algo oscillator matrix here on the 4-hour. Is that the hyperwave is the highest that it's been since back here in early January, so January 2nd, which that was peak FOMO. That was some peak FOMO for 2024 so far, right? And then we had back here before that, and this is the most elevated kind of range for the hyperwave here from Lux Algo since December 4th was the last time, so the early December. So noticing a trend here early in the month, the hyperwave gets overextended. Now we are according to the hyperwave. I left here a little prematurely. Is we probably should be seeing a pullback here pretty soon. But will it be a pullback that's similar to this and this, where it's immediate to the downside, or will it be more like this, where there's some disagreement, right? Where there's some disagreement, the bulls say, not so fast. We're going to pull this baby back up, and then you start to get some divergences. So let's go ahead and take a look. We are getting two reversal triangles popping up here, reversal deltas showing that there's a possible reversal, but we already had one here and there was no reversal, right? Money flow is continuing to be green. So I would say that right now we do have one of the three elements that Tim and I look for, and that's only one. So you really need three before you start making a decision, at least on the 4-hour, if you're only trading on the 4-hour. But I see one, the biggest bullish thing here is there's two bullish, which is positive money flow. Second bullish, we have this bullish reversal dot on the actual hyperwave. And then up here, you actually see that, wait a second, what am I seeing here in the chat? Army Piper said, I'm selling my Bitcoin today. I don't know if he's trolling or what is going on here. That is pretty radical language. But there is a reversal delta here. Now, I don't know. Piper. Okay, he said, here we go. Yep, talking about it on the show today. All right, well, there you go. If you didn't already have a reason to tune into Piper Academy after the show, now you do. Absolutely do. Piper knows what he's doing here, folks. Right after the show, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, Piper will talk to you about why he's selling his Bitcoin. Am I selling my Bitcoin? Not a chance. I think this is potential. I mean, the whole reason for titling the show how I have is because we could be at the beginning stages of peak FOMO, right? I'm not making the claim that we are, because I think we're at the very beginning stages of it, so it's uncertain as to whether or not we are, right? But if you take a look here at the stock to flow model, you can see that we still have a good amount of time before we get to the halving, right? So the halving still estimated early May, right? So estimated by the stock to flow model, at least early May, but it could be late April, could be early April, right? Could be very, very soon. It more than likely will not be in March, right? So we still have time. We still have many weeks. We don't have another Fed meeting, I don't believe. So that is actually kind of positive. I think we have a Fed meeting in March. So we have one Fed meeting before the halving that could potentially be running in opposition to a bullish Bitcoin. And then we do have a few other events. But really, the May 23rd date is going to be for the spot Ethereum ETF. That's going to be after the halving more than likely, right? And that could have an impact after the halving. But running into the halving, this is the point that I'm making. This is a tool that I'm actually working on is trying to identify what is the strongest narrative, what narrative has the strongest gravity on price. And so it's very, very interesting. And I love taking a look at it and trying to learn more, right? But I think selling Bitcoin here is, I mean, Piper's doing it, right? And he's a really, really smart guy. We're going to find out exactly why in the show after this show. But I think personally, it would be a mistake for me. Let's put it that way. It would be a mistake for me to sell here. I think that there's a good chance that Bitcoin will come back and do a retracement. So if you're just judging from the old tried and true kind of method of buy low, sell high, then that's fine, right? But if you're selling your Bitcoin bags, right, with like low average entries of like 20,000, 19,000, even 30,000, I think that's a mistake. So again, we'll have to tune into Piper's show to see exactly why and what he's talking about. I'm excited to figure that out as well. But let's go ahead and get along 3.9% to the upside is Ethereum. So Ethereum rocketing through here, kind of taking out a lot of my plan, my trading plan, which was kind of an example plan anyway. So I'll kind of go ahead and delete that and maybe return to it in another date. But ultimately here, as you can see, Ethereum absolutely rocketing through these levels of resistance and going ahead and just puncturing right on through without much resistance at all. Now, a lot of this is happening in the Asian trading hours. Bitcoin up 5%, Ethereum up 4%, right? If we take a look at the bubbles, I think we should do that. This feels like taking a look at the bubbles kind of day. Smash the likes if you like the bubbles. I know I do. We can see that on the day, Rune, Dime has been leading the market this week. Ordi up 6.2%, Rune up 17%, Tau up 9%. Jupe is actually looking like it's lagging the market, at least of the top 100. That's not favorable for the DEX coin of Solana, but there you go. Yeah, no other names really jumping out to me as unusual. Injective, Sui, doing pretty well as well, up 5%, more than 5% each of those, but that's kind of to be expected here. Beam up 6.8%. Oh, Kaspa up 6.1%. We'll definitely have to look at Kaspa. In fact, let's go ahead and do that now. We do have some news here we're going to be covering in just a second. We've taken a look at Bitcoin. We've taken a look at Ethereum here. Let me turn off, before we go look at Kaspa, let me turn off the fib here and dive a little bit deeper. Let's look at the 1 hour for Ethereum because I want to see how this played out on these ranges I had drawn. So it looks like there's a level here that I didn't have drawn, and this does make sense. My guess is that this actually was a fib level. Let's take a look. No, not so much. Well, there you go. I think what it was is I just wasn't doing a whole lot of mapping above these levels here. I wasn't thinking that we were going to get a push this high this quickly. And at the end of the show, I'm going to show you guys why I think that we got this push so high. Saw some headlines that are very, very bullish. So we'll get to that in just a second. But let's go ahead and take a look at Kaspa. Let's see what the old Kaspa's up to here. Yes. All right. So we have been tracking this for a while now, not on the hourly, but actually down on the 4-hourly. And what I've been showing the bros is that we have not gotten a candle close in north of 12.5. We just haven't gotten one since back here in December 15th. It is, yeah. So the fact that we got this candle close here above 12.5, and this is a level that your boy T Shroom just kind of figured out. It wasn't, wow, I may have picked up this level from someone. I don't remember doing that though. This is a T Shroom exclusive level, so very nice. Got to give yourself a pat on the back every once in a while. Anyway, so yeah, we got some candlestick closes above that level, and that to me was like, okay, we might come back and test lower, but I think this is it. This is, Kaspa's kind of got its mojo back. The bulls are back. They're buying. They're actually bidding higher. They're buying in these levels. So that is bullish. And sure enough, we went ahead and we had a test lower, right, which makes sense. You're always going to get it. Well, not always, but you're likely to get a test lower, right, down to support before you come back up and start to test higher. It just makes sense, right? That's the market repeats itself again and again in this way. Okay. So now we are seeing a test higher. Now the question is what is the next level? Well, this box is a box for a reason. I still stand by it. I do think that the next level could be up here at 15.5. Whether or not we go straight up to it and tap that, I'm not sure. But what wants to happen here? See, the market is trying to figure out what is the container that it's in and what are the boundaries of that container, right? And that right now, the last defined boundary is 15.5, right? The whole time it was down here, Kaspa's price was down here, was trying to define the downside of the boundary of the container that it was in, right? That became pretty clearly this slightly downtrending line of support, right around 9.2. Now, some people I don't see it here, but there was a wick that went lower. So some people were able to get, very few people were able to get a little bit of Kaspa a good bit lower. But for the most part, the lower limit for Kaspa is now 9.3. Right, 9 cents 3. And that is going to take quite a bit of bearishness to get back down to those levels, in my opinion. Because as you can see, if you look below this dotted line, there's really just loads of buyers. There's loads of buying pressure. Kaspa did not spend very much time below this level of 9.8, right? So the fact that it would even get below there was anomalous, right? It was coinciding with the rest of crypto being low, and then there being a push lower from FUD or from the Fed or from something to push Kaspa down to those levels back here in January 23rd and then January 18th, right? So I think the lows are probably in for Kaspa for this cycle, and now the question is do we go ahead and test the upper band of this container, this 15.5 level, or do we come back and hang out down by one of these downtrending lines of support and regain, kind of catch our breath before we make our next sprint higher? Now, what I'll say, my prediction from here is that it is Kaspa, right? So this isn't an older coin. This isn't a legacy coin. This is Kaspa, and people get really excited about it. YouTube is on fire. X is on fire for Kaspa. I do think that this goes ahead and tests this upper limit here, but I would be very careful with buying here, right? I think buying these levels may be a mistake. I would wait and see it get a good amount of distance, even start trading at 16, putting in a new all-time high, right? And then coming back, confirming this level, and then pushing higher before I started to buy in again. I think right now, if you don't have any exposure to Kaspa, you'll probably get a better entry point if you wait down here, but there is no telling. And the fact of the matter is if you've been wanting to buy Kaspa, you're going to watch the price. There's a good chance you're going to watch the price come back up here, and you're going to be chasing it in your head. Should I buy? Should I buy? Should I buy? It might be better to go ahead and take a little bit of a position, maybe 25% of what you were thinking of buying in. And then hopefully for you, the price comes back down. You can load up the rest of your allocation that you want for Kaspa and then watch it go higher. But those are kind of three different scenarios there that you can watch. On the 4-hour, you can see there's been kind of what we were just looking at in Ethereum. There's been a reversal. Right, there was a bearish reversal, and that got caught up. It got bought. Right, the momentum came back. Why is that? Because the money flow is so high. Right, there is money pouring into Kaspa right now, pushing it to the upside ever since back here on February 7th. MACD lines. Let's take a look at the MACD. Ooh, those are healthy lines. These are pointing straight up and to the right here. I don't know. It's healthy for Kaspa. This on many other coins would look pretty unhealthy, way overbought. But as you can see back here on that very big bull run that it had earlier in the fall of 2023, these lines are not that uncharacteristic. Now, if Kaspa's MACD line starts getting above these levels, right, then that does start to be a little worrying. Not for hodlers, right, but for traders. If you're taking long positions while the MACD is getting this elevated, right, that's a little scary because what happened both times the MACD got this elevated, it reversed. So that's just something to keep in mind, right? And it took a while for it to reverse here. This is weeks. This is weeks of elevated price, overbought price action for Kaspa before you had a correction back lower. Right now, we are still very much in these phases of euphoria for Kaspa, and there will probably not be a correction yet until this blue MACD line starts to correct. And again, I'm on the 4-hour for those who are watching at home. Green histograms are decelerating, but holding strong here at this level. So Kaspa, I've done a lot of work here on Kaspa. My ultimate decision here is I do think that this goes higher. I think that this goes up and tests this limit up here, 15, tests those 2024 and all-time highs. And if you want to trade that, let's see what the percentage gain would be. 16% on a leverage trade on Blowfen, which is our partner for trading and leverage trading here in the United States. That would be a pretty nice chunk of change. Now you have to be very careful. You have to practice good risk management and be very careful with that. Let's turn to we've looked at Kaspa, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. There are some other ones popping off. Ordi I would look at, but honestly, it's just a lot of up and to the right here in Bitcoin today, right? The question is it a bull trap? The question is, where is this new money coming from? The question is this starting to get into the actual FOMO narrative where people's cousins are buying in, where people's uncles, where people's staff and employers were just, the village around the crypto nerd, as it were, is the village starting to buy? Right, because once the village starts to buy, then the even greater village, and you start to have this multiplicative effect, and all of those dollars that get invested in whatever fiat, whatever currency gets invested in, swapped for digital assets, it starts to really boost price in a way that just all the crypto nerds, all the crypto traders that are in the market right now just have limited ability to do. We saw it in GameStop. We saw it in the last crypto bull run. This is a phenomenon that happens again and again. When is this FOMO going to happen? Let's see if the chat has any kind of answers for this. Drew XRP has said, "Good morning, bros." So Drew has gone ahead. He said he was going to change his name. His name used to be Drew P. Now it's Drew XRP. Or this is a different account. I have a feeling it's not. He's saying good morning. So that's funny. And that's an inside joke that we'll keep moving on here. All right. I see Blackie Chan saying good morning, bros. I see Justin Eubanks jumping in saying, good morning, bros. Good morning, T-Shroom. Man, I love seeing all the bros in here this morning. Justin Eubanks, Servando Estrada coming in. Servando Estrada, of course. Army Piper coming in. And Nancy Croy, Mike Play, B Team Crypto coming in with the coffee face. Drew P. Okay, so it's a different Drew P. So I think Drew P made a different account. I think he said, if people get anything from the Putin interview, I hope it's that the U.S. government is killing the dollar on purpose. It's interesting you say that. We just might have to cover the interview here in a little bit. Let's take a look here. Gia S. in the chat. Haven't seen Gia in a little bit. It could have been my own eyes, not being able to see in the chat. But welcome back, Gia. I don't know exactly what's going on with you, so let us know what's going on. Fade and Tradfi said, LOL. They're the first bubbles they show, but they do not show the whole market. Fade and Tradfi, you're absolutely right. Just a quick little, if you don't use the cryptobubbles.net tool, you are missing out. What's cool is you can manipulate the amount of bubbles or the cap. So actually, I think it only lets you do by the hundreds. So you're right, you can't see the whole market, but you can go to, say, the next 100, right? The 100 through 200, and you can see coins that you recognize a lot less. I do recognize Kadena and FET, right? There's probably a Floki, I guess I recognize. Bonk, you can't see it behind me, but it's a cool tool. Definitely don't sleep on it. Sushi, IOTX. I notice Engine. That's different from Injective. But so there's a lot of different aspects to this, a lot of definitely very useful. Oh, there's Pepe. You got to love Pepe. That's going to be a sleeper meme, in my opinion. All right, let's go ahead and get into some of the stories here, guys. Killer Whales is watchable now. They've announced it over here on their X account, Killer Whales TV. This, of course, is paired in with the Hello token. Hello token is something we'll cover here in just a second, but as you can see here on the tv.hello.1, so be very careful. I would just go to X, find the account for the Killer Whales that has a lot of followers and is followed by a couple people that you follow, right? Why am I pointing this out? Because of security. Be very, very careful, right? Be very, very careful what you click on, because ultimately, in order to watch this, you have to go ahead and pair your wallet to this. And when you pair your wallet to something, you are opening up yourself to a counterparty, right? So you want to make sure you trust that counterparty. Killer Whales, from all indications that I've seen, is a trustworthy counterparty, and it's a way that you can access, some of these crypto legends and their, new TV show that's come out. That's, essentially kind of the Dragon's Den equivalent, the Shark Tank equivalent for crypto. I'm excited to watch it. I'm going to definitely watch it this weekend. It's very exciting. Yes, the price of Hello token, a little bit more of a controversial. I don't know that this is the effect that they were hoping to get on the price of Hello token. But overall, year to date, it's still up 335%, I will point out. And, if you're investing in a coin like Hello token and you can't hodl, right, then you're not understanding what low cap gems are, right? This coin is a $54 million coin. If we go to the market cap at its height, this coin was 128 million, call it, right? So you have to be able to hodl, right? And you also have to be able to buy low, sell high. So right now, the price for Hello is low, right? Buy low, sell high. I don't know, just something I'm thinking about here. Definitely not financial advice. You need to realize that this is a different type of beast. And there's a lot of folks who watch the Investing Bros every single day, right? They watch 4 or 5 other different YouTube channels too. They've been exposed to Hello. They see the bullishness. They may even think that the price is going to go up. But they've said to themselves, Hello's just not for me from a risk standpoint. And this is why. Because we don't know what is going to happen with these small cap gems, right? There's a lot of people that I know, like, and trust that have strong conviction in this coin, including myself. I think it'll do well in the long run. But in the short run, we just saw it with Bitcoin with the passage of the spot Bitcoin ETF. There was a sell the news. A lot of people weren't expecting that. And very few people fully understood something we're going to cover here in just a second, the narrative behind the GBTC fee, right? So there's uncertainty. Now, right now, if you're selling your Hello bags, I do think you're making a mistake, especially if you're selling them this low, if you're selling them as I'm speaking, right? If this is the first you're seeing the chart for Hello Labs, right? That's not great. So anyway, that's a big launch for them. I'm sure it's going really, really well. We may actually be having an interview with Paul Caslin. I won't say I have it scheduled, but I also had it scheduled before, and that didn't work out. So I do have a new interview scheduled with Paul, and that's going to be a lot of fun if we can make that happen. But he's a busy guy. I get it. All right, so let's go ahead and check out the next story here. I'm not going to go into it as much as I thought I was going to, but ERC 404 is out. The experimental standard, whose first token has rocketed 12,000% in 1 week. Yes, this is the Pandora token. You can look at it on dextools.io, and you can see, Pandora doing really, really well. But there's some new risks to this. The standard is entirely experimental and unaudited, while testing has been conducted in an effort to ensure execution is accurate as possible. Blah, 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 blah. There's new risks, right? I would be very careful. You need to consider yourself to be a crypto advanced in order to be dabbling in this, but there is definitely opportunity. Definitely opportunity, it seems, as Pandora tokens market is definitely pumping very, very heavily. Next story here is, of course, the Vladimir Putin story. I'll probably circle back to this one because this is probably what I want to end on. But let's answer the question here. When FOMO rally, we actually can somewhat definitively answer this with the following information. At what point do people start getting BTC FOMO is being asked by Fred Krueger, someone who you'll be seeing more of him on my screen. You've been seeing more of him. I like his analysis a lot. He says that Tom Lee suggests it kicks in when you are at a level where only 3% of its days over the Bitcoin history it has traded higher. After that, he expects 200% to 400% gain over the next 5 months. And this, so he said that back in 2019. Tom Lee did. Today, it is at 50K. So are you ready for between 100 and 200K in the next 5 months after 50K? So this is an argument for the fact that the FOMO has started, the FOMO run has begun, and that is because we are starting to approach, once we get above 50K, we're starting to approach a phase where Bitcoin has spent 4 months less than 3% of its history above 50K. So when we get into that special realm, things start to kick off, right? So there's some things that happen on the chart technically, but what I think is much more important is this psychological phenomena, right, of your cousin, of your uncle, of your coworker coming into work and saying, yo, I had some Bitcoin on a cold wallet. I had some Bitcoin in Robinhood or Coinbase, and it's like, I bought like $500 and it's worth like $5,000 now, or it's worth like $2,000 now, right? And people sit there and they're like, they hear that story and they're like, huh, interesting. Well, but Bitcoin's kind of a scam. I don't think it's real, right? But then the next day it's like, hey, that 2,000, it's actually like 3,000 now, you know? And then less and less people start thinking to themselves Bitcoin's a scam, and they start thinking to themselves, what is this Coinbase app you talk about, and how can I download that, right? And that happens not just in America, and a multiplicative effect. It happens in Europe, Australia, India, to a lesser extent China, right? South America. It happens all over the world, right? And people are around what I would consider smarter people, right? I'm a little biased, right? But they're kind of hanging around their smarter Bitcoin-aware friends who've bought Bitcoin, and their price is starting to go up, right? And they start evangelizing that. They start talking about that realized gain, right? And so it's FOMO, and then the FOMO starts to kick in, and people, next thing you know, people who didn't really even know what Bitcoin was a week ago are now buying Bitcoin at $60,000, at $70,000, $80,000, $100,000, $200,000 per coin, right? Which I don't know that I'll be doing a whole lot of that. I'll be DCAing, right? But I wanted to have done my buying of Bitcoin all through here, and I did. I bought it all through here. I bought it at the top when I first started working over at Crypto Jeb, and I bought it all the way through up until the present. Now, that has worked out really well for me. I would say that it has been difficult to do that, right? But now I'm ready to reap the reward, right? As folks who know less are coming in, and they're more than likely going to be swept up in a wave of FOMO that I am going to benefit from disproportionately. Now, hopefully, a percentage of those people also have the wherewithal and the intestinal fortitude to say, hey, I'm going to actually stick around for this, and I'm going to research a little bit, and then I'm going to start to build a conviction in this asset that I've invested in. And that's what you should do. That's what to the extent that you're trying to orange pill people, that's what your ultimate goal should be, is to help first get them invested a little bit, way less than they can afford to lose, right? And then start to actually help them understand, what is actually going on here? What is the Bitcoin halving? Why is the U.S. government and the fiat currency system kind of dying off? Why is that? How is that related? And how is that relevant to them? But I've actually set up a couple of goals here as we kind of close out. These are something that I've written out, and I want you to kind of see if you agree with this. Goal number one, these are swing trading goals. So swing trading goal number one is never get caught up in the FOMO and the FUD. So a lot of people are about to get caught up in the FOMO. A lot of people got caught up in the FUD, and they sold their Bitcoin, right? Which if they bought back down here, then that wasn't a mistake, but more than likely they didn't buy back down there. Best case scenario, they're buying back up here, right? But ultimately here, there's a second goal, which is learn to fade those that do, right? This is kind of the level 2 for crypto. Level 2 for swing trading in general is to realize that there's always going to be people who are new to the market in general, right? They get some big inheritance, right? They start their first job and they get their first paycheck and they're like, oh, investing, right? There's always going to be people who are new to markets. Maybe they're converting over from Forex markets or from precious metals markets into the market you trade, in this case, crypto, right? They're not sure what is FOMO and what is FUD. you all tuning into Investing Bros, you have a pretty good idea because Tim and I tirelessly, along with Army Piper and the other shows and folks we collaborate with, we tirelessly try to present to you what is FOMO and what is FUD, right? And sometimes it's not super clear, but most of the time it is. Right now, there is a very, very big case for there being a pretty good case for being bullish right now, that this is actually not a bull trap, in my opinion. Tim may take a slightly different opinion, but this is the chart that explains it pretty well, and I'll close with this. The outflows of $730 million from GBTC on the 18th trading day pales in comparison to the iceberg that we have seen historically from GBTC sell-offs, right? This is very big. According to BitMEX research data, on the 18th trading day of the spot Bitcoin ETF as of February 6, GBTC had a fund outflow of $73 million. Since January 11th, 2024, the total outflow of GBTC has been $6 billion, with 147,000 Bitcoin outflowed. Okay, so let's take a look at this chart and see what we can't pull out. All right, so this was day one, right, of the GBTC getting the clearance from the SEC saying, hey, you can convert to spot. It did so, but so did all the other 9 ETFs that had much lower fees. So what did some people do? Again, a portion of the holders of GBTC began to sell. And they began to sell at a very high frequency here and didn't really stop selling at this frequency, at this level, until day 9, right? And then ever since then, there's been a waning. And now, as we come to the present, right, we are now out of the triple digits of millions of selling volume per day, and we are now kind of in the promised land, right? The biggest seller in the market, by this chart's indication, is done selling. The news, folks, the FOMO rally is here. I do believe that we are ready to see what we have been waiting to see all through the bear market. Now, I'm super excited to go watch Army Piper. He's saying he's going to sell Bitcoin. It's really interesting to see what his argument's going to be. I don't know exactly what he means by that, so I'm going to tune in. Also, I've got Magic Internet Money coming on today at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to dive very deep into the charts. If you haven't seen Magic, prepare to feast your eyes on some Magic today at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you there.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army Piper, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shouted out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividends. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.